Hi, I'm so glad you could join us today for Marshashana Yoga. I'm here with my co-host, Ryan Farrell. Hi, Ryan.
Hi, Marsha.
How are you?
I'm doing wonderful. Mother Nature is agreeing with all of us, and I'm doing wonderful. What better way to start off my weekend than here in the studio with you and our yes.
That's right. And here in New England, the weather's been perfect this fall. So
yes.
So our subject today is around stress and yoga. Kind of sounds like an oxymoron, but there is a connection. I know this is a silly question because I know what you've been through, Ryan. Have you ever been stressed out? And what is your greatest stressor at this point in life?
Most definitely have been stressed out, and as you just said, you know about my background with my traumatic brain injury, and right now I think my biggest stressor is finding my big kid real world job, as we all are on the hunt for, it seems, our whole lives. But it's just that stress, that not knowing when all of my hard work is going to come to fruition.
Right, which is probably true, like you said, of a lot of people.
Yeah.
Well, stress is not necessarily a bad thing. It has survival value if you're being chased by predators. When you do think you are threatened, and that could be from an angry confrontation with someone or the sight of a high balance, high interest credit card bill or any number of other things, the sympathetic nervous system is activated. This means that the heart beats harder, the blood pressure rises, and this brings more blood to the muscles of the legs and arms so that you can run from trouble. This is known as the fight or flight response. In this place, white blood cells will be sent to the walls of the capillaries so that they can be used for any wounds that might happen as a result of this trouble, just in case the wound gets infected. The sugars and fats in your body are right there to give you the fuel you need to flee. So, if you've had a really close call where your life was in danger, such as like almost being hit by a car, that fight or flight response will happen almost immediately, but it takes a while to abate. If this stress response is working the way it should be, then once that danger is gone, the body moves into a restful place where the parasympathetic nervous system takes front and center stage. The heart rate and blood pressure go back to their normal place. Stress hormones like adrenaline and cortisol and sugar levels drop also. Today, of course, the threats that we must deal with are not usually physical. It's more likely to be about jobs, money, relationships, etc. And these are often not things that resolve right away. So that stress response will stay activated or will be continually reactivated. It is when this happens that the body can become susceptible to disease. I went to college as an adult when my two older kids were young, and one of the things that I learned and that stuck with me was the relationship and connection between stress and cancer. Stress is also related to heart attacks, strokes, multiple sclerosis, ulcers, insomnia, certain headaches, rheumatoid arthritis, and overeating. Yoga can lower the levels of stress hormones. Bam!
Yes, and that stress hormone, cortisol, is related to a number of health issues, like increased blood sugar, higher blood pressure, and insulin resistance. Those are all risks for heart attack. High levels of cortisol is also linked with overeating and binge eating. And when you do overeat, cortisol makes sure it goes right to the belly. That's bad because it's the most dangerous place for fat to be. it ups the chances of getting diabetes or experiencing heart issues.
That's right, Rai. And that's not all. It lowers bone density, makes your immunity less effective, and is linked to depression. Yes, from studies we know that when the stress hormone levels are high, you are more likely to get a cold or virus, and it also affects how long you'll stay sick. As Dr. Timothy McCall, MD, says in his book, Yoga as Medicine, quote, cortisol appears to be the major player in this immune suppression, unquote.
Well, it's also associated with memory loss. It can even lead to changes in the brain and has been linked to Alzheimer's disease, although that has not been proven yet. Stress is probably not going to help any situation related to brain function.
Really, and it is thought that it can make pain feel more intense, contribute to a bad mood, and slow the recovery time after surgery. What drives this chronic stress? Well, probably your mind, first and foremost.
Yeah.
We can even create stress when there is none. Mm-hmm. Think about when you've worried your butt off about something and then it doesn't even happen. Yoga can calm down the harried mind with practice over time. It brings you to that core place where you are calm. And yoga does teach us to ride the waves of the ups and downs in life, and this can be calming too. As you begin to give less and less energy to these things that cause the mind stuff. Meditation and guided imagery can help too. Ryan, there was a time after your brain injury that the only thing you could really do was meditate. Is that right?
That's very true. And I was introduced to that by my first and best speech therapist at Spalding. And not only was she a speech therapist extraordinaire, but also a very calming Zen yoga instructor herself.
Very nice. Mm-hmm. I think you were really blessed to have that experience.
Oh, very much so.
Yoga can be so relaxing and life-changing. The mind is referred to as the monkey mind, and so appropriate. Like a crazy monkey running around, swinging from tree to tree. The mind is producing thousands and thousands of thoughts a day. Endless amounts of time running over the past or worrying about the future. When we begin to notice this, we can focus on calming the mind by attending to the breath. The breath is the vehicle for the consciousness. So a long, calm breath is much better than a ragged, uneven, short breath. So, as always, I stress to you the importance of the breath. And it certainly is crucial when it comes to stress. The restraint and control of the breath begins with a calm body and mind. I would often remind my children and later my students when I worked at the high school to take 5 deep breaths. That was long before I walked the yogic path. Ironically, while I was working on this show, one of my readings for the day was related to the topic of stress. I love serendipitous events. It's from a book called Guideposts that my dear friend and a fellow choir member for years, Sandy Raymond, gives to me every year for Christmas. It talks about a man who wakes in the morning head full of worry. Nothing real specific, but causing pressure in the chest, tension in the eyes, and yup, shallow breathing. He goes on to say, quote, who isn't stressed out today, unquote. Good point. He says how a friend says that without stress, nothing would get done. Quote, society would crumble, unquote. But that a constant state of stress is no good. I love the next part. That kind of stress is corrosive to the soul. It breaks us down and distances us from grace. Grace and stress are antithetical, unquote. So now, my friends, let us move to a relaxing place, our yoga mat. Come now to the rise and fall of our breath. Just beginning to notice the breath. So that we know that we're very busy during the course of our days and nights. And we don't attend to the breath too much. But in yoga we do. We begin to really notice that. So just allow any concerns to move away and come to the rise and fall of the breath. As you inhale, bring in a sense of peacefulness. And as you exhale, allow the weight of the body to surrender to the mat. So while you rest here, just watching your breath, I'll just talk a little bit. So there are 8 limbs to yoga. The asanas or postures, we know about those. And the pranayama, the breath work, we know about that. But there are 6 other limbs. And the first 2 limbs are the niyamas and the yamas. And those are right suggestions for right ways of living. The niyamas are concerned more with how you are within yourself, while the yamas are more about our interaction with the outside world. So I'm going to touch on the niyamas quickly, and that would be asteya, or non-stealing. So we know we can steal material things, but we can also steal people's time or their energy. And we're probably all guilty of that at some point in our lives. And then there's satya, truthfulness, and always with some kindness added to that. And ahimsa, which is nonviolence to any kind of living beings. Brahmacharya, which was originally meant as celibacy, but is now more considered like union with one or unity. And then paragraha, which is non-hoarding, can also be described as generosity or simplicity. So let's begin to deepen the breath. Let's inhale first into the abdomen, and then up into the rib cage, and all the way to the top, and pausing there, and then releasing the chest and the ribs and the belly. Again, filling the belly, expanding the ribs laterally, and lifting the chest. A nice fluid breath all the way to the top, and pausing when you get there for just a few seconds. And then releasing and letting go with the chest, the ribs, the belly. And at the bottom, just pausing at the bottom of the exhalation. And then again, going all the way from the bottom to the top. And a long exhalation. And then just returning to the normal rhythm of your breath. So for a moment, just envision above the crown of your head a beautiful white or golden light. And as you inhale, allow that to enter through the crown of the head. And as you exhale, allow that to flood through the body. And then release your blocks from your legs. Now, if you don't have blocks or a bolster, you can start on the floor in Shavasana, just plain on a little pillow. So just using what you have. Today we will be using the blocks, and if you are practicing at home, it's a good idea to get some blocks. They're not very expensive. The bolsters are a little more, but they're a good investment too. So let's bring the arms by the ears as we extend the arms back. And just making some spaciousness in the chest and taking a few big breaths. And then with your next exhalation, allow the arms to drift down by the sides. And then point your feet and flex them and point them and flex them. And then drop the heels apart and bring the big toes together. And just let that sit there a moment as we just sort of encourage that inward rotation of the hips and the thighs. And then windshield wiper them in and out. Toes together, then apart. Good. Beautiful. Opening up the hips. And then come back to the center and just tap, alternate your feet so you're tapping the back of your knees and opening up the back of the knees, which is very tight times. And then coming to rest and bringing your feet up to the floor one at a time. And just slowly wagging the knees side to side as we just put a little pressure on the buttocks, noticing how it feels as you move across that glute, that muscle in the buttocks. And bringing an awareness to that. And then coming back to center and just rocking the head a little side to side. So we just warm up the neck as well. And especially as we get older, it seems there's a little more stuff around the neck. So just doing that. And then coming back up to center. Bring the legs long again. And bring the arms up and bring one hand to each elbow. And allow that to rest either behind the head or on the forehead, depending on your shoulders. Now remember, don't do anything in yoga that's painful. There's kind of a right pain and a wrong pain, so there's a stretching kind of a sensation, but you should never feel, bad pain, and you would want to come immediately out of that pose into a restful pose. Switch the cross of your arms, let that rest there again for a moment. Bring your attention to the breath, taking a big breath into the chest, releasing, and then bring the arms down by your sides. And now we're just going to come up for a moment, and we're going to turn the bolster so it's sideways at the top, and just, if you like, you can bring a pillow here, and that's up to you. But if your neck is good and everything's flat and in line, then you should be fine. You don't put your head on the bolster, put it in front of the bolster. And then bring your feet back up to the floor. And of course, my sidekick over there, Miss Ryan, is helping me to demonstrate the poses. She's my new co-host, which I love. Yeah, we're good buds now. And now and then bring the arms long and let them rest on your bolster. And then press down with the lower back so you create that pelvic tilt. And then release. Again, pressing that lower back right into the floor. And release. And again. And release. And then press down a little bit in that pelvic tilt and let the legs go to the right. And let the arms stretch on the left side of the body. Let that stretch a little more. And then come up to center, press down with the lower back a bit, and let the legs drop left, and let the arm on the right stretch a little more. So just really working the side of the body. And then coming back up and exhaling the arms down by the sides. So let's draw the right knee into the chest and just gently rocking that in and out a little bit. And then let it come to 90 degrees and let it just come out and catch it with your right hand. Keep the left knee up and just let that open and stretch a little. Don't let it hang, but just let it have a nice little stretch. And then bring that and cross it over the leg so that your knee and hip are in a straight line. Bring one hand to each knee, or you can hold behind the thighs and bring that configuration up to your chest and gently rock it in and out. Rock and roll. And then bring that foot down and cross all the way over
Take the right hand out to either a T or a slight T, depending on your shoulders. And then take the left hand, draw the knees to the left, and move the head to the right. And take a couple breaths. So literally squeezing the abdomen like a sponge, all those internal organs, and coming up and just getting rid of toxins. And uncross, draw the left knee into your chest, and just take a breath. And then extend that leg up long. Just stretching that up. And then bring that to 90 degrees and let that come out to the side. Keep the right knee right up straight. And then bring that over, cross it so that the hip and knee line up. Bring one hand to each knee or behind, and just rock that gently in and out. And then bring the right leg down and cross the other one over. Take the left hand out to a T, and the right will draw the knees to the right. The head moves left. Couple big breaths into the belly, getting rid of anything we don't need. And then coming up to center. Uncross and stretch the arms and legs.
Stretch.
That's a great stretch. And then bring the arms down. And take your blocks and stand them up so that they're standing next to your legs like that. And leave your left leg long and draw your right knee in. So you want to keep the left toes up towards the ceiling and the heel centered in order to make sure your ankles are safe and all of that. And then extend your right leg up and interlace behind it. And point and flex the foot a little. And then make a few circles with the foot. And the other way. And then press the foot up and bend the knee to the chest. Keep the sole up and then press it up and down a few times, just stretching that hamstring. And then allow that leg to move to the left and land the calf right on the block. Keep the foot flexed. Your right shoulder can come off the floor a little, don't worry about that. And keep the gaze at the ceiling. Make sure the leg is as much, as straight as possible and the foot flexed. And take a breath. And you can always place that sole of the foot against a wall if you're near a wall for even a little extra oomph. So bend the knee and bring it back in and extend that right leg along the floor and draw the left knee into your chest. And just take a breath here. And then extend that left leg up and point and flex the foot a few times. And then make a few circles. And the other way. And then push the sole up and bend the knee to the chest and push it up and down a few times and lengthen that hamstring. Arms are nice and long as well. And then swing that leg over and let the calf come to the block. Let the gaze be at the ceiling and just take a breath here. So again, making it as even as you can and keeping the foot flexed. And that's a really good stretch. And just bend the knee and bring that back in and extend the arms and legs. Good, and then coming up. So let's come up to a seated position. Let's make our legs long.
Slow and steady.
Slow and steady wins the race. Okay. So here, let's bring the hands forward and lift the chest and keep the back straight in Dandasana staff pose. Taking a breath. And then just widen the legs a little. Bring the hands forward, press down, lift the chest. So we have those oppositional forces of moving down as we lift up, pressing down with the legs, lifting up with the crown of the head. Taking a breath. And then walk the hands up. Bring your feet this way. Bring your hands in the middle again. Press down as you lift up, and press the legs in as you push the arms out. We have 4 different things going on, attending to all that at once. And then coming back. All right, I want to do a little bit more on the back. So we're going to, while we're sitting in this position, we're going to take 1 block between the feet. And then we're going to lay back like this, kind of. Bring those. So a little work on the abs.
I need that.
So we're going to inhale up.
Sorry.
That's okay. Exhale down. Inhale. Exhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Up and down. Once more. And then down. Very good. And we'll just come up this far. And we're going to try boat. I don't know if we've done boat.
No, we haven't. So I'm excited
Let's,
for that.
all right, let's try it. So right here like this, you bring your hands back behind you. Of course, I'm just recovering from a broken arm. I've had about 10 weeks ago, so I still don't have, you may see a little odd movement with my hands back here because I can't quite do everything.
Take it easy.
That's it, we're taking it easy. So in Navasana, you can bring the legs up here first. Okay, yep. And then if you can bring the legs up and the arms forward, lifting the chest. Navasana, boat pose. And breathing. And then bringing that down. Good job. Let's come up for a few minutes. So we'll move the bolster
Can
off.
you get me to the Cape on an actual boat?
I think everybody would rather be in a real boat. In fact, this morning when I did it in my class, no one seemed enthusiastic about the boat, and I think everybody was thinking about, that's what I thought,
Yeah.
other boats. Okay, so you come up, Ryan, and I'm going to fold your blanket.
Oh, thank you.
So at home, if you have a blanket, you can take it like this. These are all good props. I mean, if you're doing it at home, it's great to have these. We take this, we can fold it in half, and then in thirds. And we're going to put this here. I think this is safe,
Use all
safe
your-
for you. So,
Oh, yeah, I'm fine. Use all
so-
your resources.
right.
Have 'em, right?
That's right. So Brian, let's start over on that. So Ryan has had a very traumatic head injury. So this is challenging for her sometimes. So we bring the heels to the back and the toes up. So right there, you're getting a nice calf stretch, right? Really nice, big calf stretch. Bring the hands out and make some circles with them. And then go the other way. And then bring the arms up and interlace them, which I can't do, but Ryan can, and extend up. And then bring the hands here and begin to grasp at the air. So involving both the arms and the hands, just like you were grabbing the air. And as we do this, we bring some circulation into the arms, some nice life into the arms, but also bring some energy from the heart chakra.
It's fun because you feel silly.
You do, you feel kind of silly, and at first it was very uncoordinated for me. It took a while to be able to do it like together. And let's just spread it a little wider with the arms. Bring the 4 fingers close together, bring the fingertips to the palm pads, and then begin to engage the arms as well.
Okay.
Okay, so we do feel this after we do this a few minutes too. Quite good for the arms. So just shaking that. And then bring your hands here and make some nice circles, just opening up the shoulders. And then go the other way. Beautiful. And then try stepping the other way so you can bring your heels up on here. And then bring the hands out in front of you and wave them up and down as you just do some extension and flexion with the hands. And then bring the index finger and thumb together and make tiny little circles, just small ones. Arms are shoulder width. And then go the other way. And then interlace the hands, but bring your opposite finger in front and the index finger, and then extend that up. And then exhale down. Now we're going to do a little something. This you may do and you may not do it. It's up to you. It's a little harder. Go just down a little bit. Widen your stance. Bring your hands to prayer. Bend the knees. So even if you're up higher, that's okay. Just do what you can do. And then come back up. Exhale. Step off your little thingy there and just set that aside. So we're going to do warrior two and then side angle, extended side angle. I'm going to have Ryan do the extended side angle coming down on her leg, and I'm going to do it with a block. So as we move along, we can increase it a little bit. So let's just step wide. So you want to step wide as you can, even and parallel with the feet. And then we turn this foot, and the back toes move in as the heel slides out. The torso faces this way. Extend your arms. And then look out over your hand over there and bend the forward knee. Keep the knee very close to over the ankle. It can go a little bit past, but not much. And then bring the front arm down, Ryan, and extend over it. I'm going to bring my hand to the block. So we stack one arm over the other as we lift the chest, so that we're not down here somewhere. We've got the chest up there. And then come back up, bring the hands and feet to center. And now we'll just move that block, or you can just move to the other side. So we move this foot out all the way and the back one in. And when you bend this forward knee, make sure that the knee is at the center of the foot and not leaning towards that big toe. So bring your torso forward, extend your arms, nice expansion and extension. Bend the forward knee and gaze out over that arm. In warrior two, Virabhadrasana 2. So Sanskrit is that ancient language that you hear me use. And then you can bring your arm down, and anyone at home as well, and I'll bring my hand back to the block. Uttita Padmasvanasana. And then coming up, feet to center, and come to the middle. Inhale, round the shoulders. Exhale, back. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale the shoulders to the ears. Exhale, ha. Ha. Inhale. Ha. Inhale. Ha. Very good, very good, very good. Now, I think that we will try Ardha Chandrasana, which is half moon. But I am going to take, Ryan back to the wall to do this. So we're just going to go up against this wall for a minute. Let me move your mat. Okay. So for those of you at home, this may be hard to do initially free, so it's better to just get it against the wall. So I'm going to put a block just about near the edge of the wall, and we're going to I will do it here without the wall. I'm going to help you do it. So we're going to step wide. Hold on. We're going to step wide, and we're going to turn the foot out again. Get it right near the block, Ryan. Okay. And then the other toes come in the same way. And as you reach, you wait a second. Okay. And I'm going to show them. So what I do first is I extend, and then I bend the knee, and then you come up on the one leg. So let's try this against the wall. So the foot has to come kind of near to the block. Okay. That's it. Beautiful. Back toes move in. You're as wide as you normally would be for warrior two. Extend your arms. And then before you bend this knee, don't bend this knee. Reach from here. Reach out first. Straight out. That's a girl. Then bend that knee, grab the block, and straighten your leg and come right up against the wall. Exactly. So if you're at home, that's how you do it. So sometimes we're just planting a seed. Okay. So you can come down whenever you're ready. That's good.
That sounds great.
Let's try the other side.
Okay.
So let's line you up again. Get your block down there. and put your foot in front of it. And then turn the other toes in. And then keep the front leg really straight, Ryan. And bend from that way. So whoops, put the arms up. Yeah. That's it. And as you reach, then bend the forward knee, grab your block, move it to where you need to be. That's it. And then come right up off that leg and onto the wall. That's it. Straighten the front leg. Good girl. And there it is. Okay, that's beautiful. So just stay until when you're ready, and then you come down. That looks good, Ryan. Very nice. Ardha Chandrasana, half moon.
Jazz hands.
Good job. All right, so there's a little bit of more of a challenging pose for you. All right, so let's come to this position for just a moment. I want to do let's move that back, Ryan, onto the cover. I want to do a wide-legged forward fold. So in that place, I'm going to put blocks here. Now here's the thing, when you come into this, you want to put your hands on the floor. Now when you're first starting, you may not be able to put your foot on the floor. Let me start. Now we're going to do a wide-legged forward fold. Now in this position, for beginners, you may not be able to bring your hands right to the floor. And you might not be able to bring your head yet, but let's start with the hands. Let's step wide, bring your blocks so they're down here. Okay. Make sure you're wide as possible. Feet are even and parallel, we train them. Extend the spine upwards, and we're not bending here. Nope, we're bending here at the top of the thighs, right? So it takes a different mindset. Extend the spine up. I even put my hands there to know where I'm folding. Bring the head down, bring the hands to the block, and look back behind you. Beautiful. That actually looks very good, Ryan.
Thank you.
Just taking a breath. Is that okay for you?
That feels wonderful.
Okay.
Thank you.
So just rest here a moment as we just, this is very calming to the nervous system. Eventually you can bring your hands to the floor. And the crown of the head for some comes to the floor, but not for I yet. And taking a breath. And then walk the feet back up together there and come back up. Very good. Okay, we're going to come down now. We're going to come down. We're going to do a little meditation, and we're going to do a little Shavasana. So we'll put our little blankets back down, and we'll sit on our bolsters. And we'll have our pillow nearby.
I love it.
So just, we'll have the blocks too, and when you're sitting on the bolster, you can just support your knees with the blocks. So we'll stagger a little, okay. And just allowing the knees to be a little above the hips there. And just bringing the hands up. Let's come to the Dhyana Mudra. We bring the right hand on top of the left. So bring your legs crossed, not soles together. Right. Beautiful. And we bring the right hand on top, and we bring the thumbs together. So it's like that. And we bring it right near the upper abdomen, near the solar plexus, right? That's the center of our power. It's the center of our self-worth and our self-confidence. And there we envision a beautiful yellow light flooding that area. This is also related in the body with the digestion and such. So let's do 2 Rams, which is the seed sound for that chakra. So let's inhale to begin. And then release your hands. And let's come to Shavasana. If you have a bolster, You can bring the bolster underneath the thighs and the pillow underneath the head. Coming to rest. We again draw our attention back to the inhalation and the exhalation. We allow ourselves to be present in this moment, perhaps beginning to understand how much time we spend running over past events or rushing into the future. How much time do you spend in the present moment? Allow the feet to soften on the floor, surrendering the heels to the floor and relaxing all the toes. Soften the ankles and the knees. Allow the hips to be relaxed and open. Soften the back of the body. For a moment, feel cradled by the earth. Notice the hands resting and soften the palms of the hands. Relax your shoulders away from your ears. Soften the abdomen, soften the chest. Bring your attention to the throat and just soften that area. Envision a blue light there, opening up that throat chakra, allowing us to speak our mind and to listen. Release the corners of your eyes and the corners of your mouth. Relax the tongue. And rest your mind. And while you rest, I'll read. Forward bends, such as wide-legged forward fold or intense pose, Uttanasana, forward fold, encourage pratyahara, or sense withdrawal, by closing down the front of the body where the sense organs are, to sensory stimulation. Taking your head lower than your heart brings fresh blood to your brain and helps thinking to become less muddled. Forward bends can be challenging because they stretch the back of the body intensely, which can encourage an overly ambitious, aggressive attitude. It is therefore more important than ever when doing asanas such as intense pose that you maintain an approach of ahimsa, or nonviolence, toward yourself. Forcing yourself in any way would only threaten to disrupt your sense withdrawal practice. Be gentle with yourself by softening your knees and shoulders and by following your breath away from the outside world towards silence. And now just begin to wiggle your fingers and your toes. And gently roll to your side and just rest there for a moment. And then just keeping your sense of tranquility, bring yourself up to a simple seated position, Sukhanasana. Bring the hands together and rub the hands together, just noticing the feeling between the hands, the warmth and the energy. And then come to prayer and set an intention for your day. And then bow your head. May the long-time sun shine upon you. All love surround you. And the pure light within you guide your way home. Namaste.
Namaste.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Ryan.